on their end if they want to get on our bus or not.
I think an example there, Sherry, you dealt with, a team member that just wouldn't get on the bus no matter what, and I think we were in a tough spot because, staffing concerns of being short staffed were there, but you finally kicked them off the bus because it just wasn't good for the rest of your bus. It's tough to make these decisions. we didn't practice that one.
And to Garrett's point, you're going to invite the right people. If people are stagnant, then you need to break free of them and kick them off your bus.
Yeah, I always say don't waste too much time on someone that's not willing to jump on.
It only brings you down. Share your vision, and not only share it, but continuously communicate on how you're going to get there. I think that Trilogy as a whole, we do a great job in communicating goals. And Jessica, you send out our goals every week, set them for the month at the beginning of the month, and so we always know where we're headed. And then we have the freedom as managers to, put other little goals in there to help us get there and to motivate our team the way that it works. To motivate each member of our teams on site. Negativity kills productivity. It is like a cancer that spreads throughout an office. Like you were saying, you walk into Waterchase and you feel those positive vibes. How many people here have shopped a competitor community, or even walked into your own community and you could slice the tension with a knife? Like you're like, oh, these people in here do not like each other. How do they rent apartments? Like this is crazy. Again, it goes back to the positive energy.
And you can't get sucked into it either, so as the leader, you have to stop it.
Absolutely. We always want to help others. We want to help others get to their goal, find their purpose. As leaders, that's our job, is to help people find out what they want to do, and then we help them get there. We make a difference. Don't waste your energy on those who don't get on your bus, is rule 5. Some people are going to get on your bus and some won't. Don't worry about the people who don't get on your bus. Don't waste your energy on them. And I'll tell you, when I first started as a manager, I was guilty of that. I was such a people pleaser. I wanted everyone to like me and everyone needed to be on my bus. But here's the thing I learned as I grew in my career, that as a leader, what I can do is I can lay down the foundation. I can give you all the right tools, I can give you choices, I can try to coach and develop you, but at the end of the day, if you don't want it, I can't make you. And you have to learn to, part ways at that time. But it's just laying out all those facts. Dealing with negativity and negative people won't be easy. It's so stressful. But who we surround ourselves with has a big difference on the life and the success that we create. Everyone makes their own decisions, and you can't drive anyone else's bus. The more energy you spend worrying about those who did not get on your bus, the less energy you have for your other passengers, and your other team members feel that. So you want to make sure that you have all those individual relationships with your team. Okay. Sorry, we have this, I gotta read through this other slide on here. But life, no matter how positive you are, there's going to be setbacks. There always is setbacks. And so we have some examples of some really successful people, organizations, and the setbacks that they had on their journey. Bill Gates' first business was called Trafodata, failed, made 0 sales. Henry Ford went broke 5 times before he successfully opened the Ford Motor Company. Colonel Sanders, KFC, rejected 1,009 times before a restaurant accepted his recipe. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lack of imagination and ideas, which is crazy. Albert Einstein didn't speak until he was 4 and couldn't read until he was 7. Teachers thought that he was actually handicapped. Thomas Edison, over 1,000 failed attempts to creating a working light bulb. Oprah Winfrey was fired for being unfit for television. Jerry Seinfeld, first attempt at stand-up comedy, was booed off stage for freezing up. Stephen King, his thriller Carrie was rejected 30 times before being accepted. Ben Franklin, he dropped out of school at 10. And Richard Branson from Virgin Airlines suffers from dyslexia. And all these people are so successful. We're always gonna have setbacks, challenges. It's the way that we overcome them as leaders and being persistent and consistent that make us successful. Okay. So this is another video that we have. It's a really short clip off of Facebook. And it has to do with the energy vampires. You'll read about them in the book. Oh, here we go. No. Okay. Oh, no. We knew that this was going to be the most challenging part of our presentation. Danielle, we might need help. She's like, no.
Uh-oh.
That's what we're trying to get to. It turned a different color.
Yeah. The playing here is.
I feel like we're gonna launch in another dance right now.
Not yet. Yeah. So this video, what we liked about it was this team and their coach was like, I'm not having negativity. If you complain, you're gonna go on our energy vampire wall. He obviously read this book. And they actually wear like wristbands that tell them to be positive, which is awesome because sometimes you need a reminder. So as you read the book, you'll understand a little bit more what we got you guys. We got you a little something. We have some rocks in the back of the room, and they each have a word on them that we want you to go to the back, and we want you to find a rock that you resonate with and put it in a place that, you know, maybe if you are having a difficult situation in the office, you can look at it, and it can help you reflect a little bit. So they're in the back, so you can go ahead and grab one. Yeah, there are plenty of rocks.
I'm sorry. I didn't choose my rock.
These
I
are
chose
the
You need to breathe.
Todd told me he's gonna get one that says "Work harder."
That's right. That would be mine.
Thanks.
So it's still yours here.
Breathe. I'll be okay. Figure it out. I feel like you have to impress others. No, don't breathe on anything. Just say something. Just
Actually, hold your breath. Just turn around and walk away.
Yeah, right. Just don't do anything.
Yeah, it was not there.
They say that.
It's like right down. Yeah, like the video's playing on right now. You do everything like.
Well, we tried. It would have been a great segue to the rock.
We're gonna be really positive about it.
Yes, we're not gonna let it be a setback.
Maybe I should act out for
Yeah. So if you allow negative people on your bus, they're going to ruin your ride. Negativity can bring you down, and don't let it suck your energy. Give people the opportunity to change. But if they choose not to change, kick them off the bus. And all you can know is that you gave that person every opportunity to change and make a difference. So our next slide that we have continues on that says no energy vampires allowed. And it's a question of which is more lasting, to just solve a problem or inspiring solution-based thinking. People will drain you. Don't try to solve every problem. Inspire the way that they think. Does anyone have any examples of how you might inspire a thought process in your team members? Okay, I have an example. So, especially when I was a manager, I was a real big control freak about my make-ready board. It was like I wanted it my way. I had the way that I did everything, and my maintenance supervisor, I would just do everything. I'm like, gosh, it's almost like he doesn't care. Through the years, I realized that I had to ask questions to get his buy-in, and I had to kind of let go, but I had to direct and inspire a thought process in him by continuing to ask questions. So it was like his idea almost, and with that buy-in, he started solving problems and coming to me in a different way. So it's just really important to do that with your team members.
We had that at Bradford. I think when I first started managing, Jeff was supervising, and he's like, we're never getting to 0 work orders. Never gonna happen.
Couldn't get
Now,
staff.
it's all the time.
Yeah, it just happened at Riverset. I was told, no, that's not gonna happen, and 0 almost at the end of every single day for the last 2 weeks consistently. So it can happen. Catch up here. All right. Rule number 7. Enthusiasm attracts more passengers and re-energizes them during the ride. People are attracted to winners. We have a competitive group here. We all like to win. So showing that competitive nature and spirit within our communities is a powerful thing. You want to be the CEO of your bus, your chief energy officer. When you feel good, others feel good around you. And that was the point of our demonstration earlier today. Moping around. People aren't going to feel good, but if you're happy, then they will. It's always hard to yell at someone or be mean to someone if they're being nice to you. I think we've all experienced that with residents when we're continually nice to them and they're yelling at us. They kind of simmer down. The most important asset of an environment is its energy, not gas or oil. It will take time, but intertwined with the next rule, it can spread quickly where there is love. And love sounds super hokey, especially when you put love and business together, right? And it's not like, oh, I love you so much. It's about genuine care for the people that you're working with and having a vested interest in what they're doing, not just at work, but what are their hobbies outside of work and getting to know them on a deeper level. I must stand. When we feel good, everyone around us feels good. Rule number 8, love your passengers. Don't fake it. Make sure the people that are on your bus feel cared for. Look out for the well-being of your team. Become the love magnet by truly loving your passengers and seeing the potential in each one of them. 5 rules. You want to make time for people. We have our formal review processes mid-year and end of the year. And I know that we have team meetings, but it's so important to check in on them at least once a month in somewhat of a more formal setting, and where it's just sitting down one-on-one, hey, how are you doing? Is there anything I can help you with? And making that time to connect, and it doesn't have to be something long and drawn out. It can just be 10 minutes. But it lets them show that, hey, I'm not just the groundskeeper, I'm not just the housekeeper, I'm just as important as the leasing consultant assistant manager. Listen to them, recognize them, share them, bring out the best in them. Again, those one-on-one meetings, find out how people want to be recognized, because everybody likes that in different ways. Rule number 9, drive with purpose. Purpose is the ultimate fuel for our journey through life. What's your why? Going back to our exercise. And that's what I also like about getting involved in local organizations, not only as a company, but in our market, because there's more purpose to what we do. I mean, we provide housing for people, and reaching out and like loving our communities from the inside out is a huge thing. And demonstrating that through our communities, I used to work at some really challenging properties. And you would be amazed, we would volunteer at St. Mary's Food Bank all the time, right, in like the local neighborhoods. And these residents would pay their rent on time, but they didn't have enough money to have dinner every night on the table for their families. And like we would go and see them at the food bank having dinner. And so it's just really important to get out and give back to the communities. When there's purpose, your engines don't burn out. When people believe in your purpose, they are more likely to work longer and harder for you. Purpose is what inspires you to get up in the morning. And rule number 10, when work is fun, you don't get tired. Don't stress about meaningless things in your life. When you are energized by doing work that matters with people, or people will like you, it's so important to have fun at work. You know, and we have to be serious, but we also need to have fun. So I know Emily's so good at cultivating like a fun environment. And a lot of you are. All the sites I've worked at, like you see the competitions and people laughing and just having a good time. There was a study done of 95-year-olds, and it was asking them, and they go over it in the book, it was asking them if they could change things in their lifetime, what would it be? And it was to reflect more, enjoy more moments, more sunrises and sunsets, and just to have more moments of joy and not get caught up in things that bring you down. Take more risks and chances. Life is too short not to go for it. And another big thing is leave a legacy. The best legacy that you could leave is not some building that has your name on it, but rather a world that has been impacted and touched by your presence, your joy, and your positive actions, which is so huge. That just really like stuck with me when I read that, because it's about the impression that you leave on this world. So how do you apply this to your day-to-day? How would you guys apply this? Like going back to your sites and just kind of going over some of these things, how would you apply this? Like going back into the communities with your teams, what are some things you could do?
Guys, I'll go out.
Yeah, come on.
I would take back doing monthly meetings, like to check in with the team. I think that's great. We used to do it, and it was, we got a lot of positive feedback, but we've just been short-staffed, but like, we can't use those excuses. I think getting together with your team and figuring out, you know, what they need or want really helps.
I agree, obviously, we're kind of in the same
Yeah.
situation, you get in this kind of, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do this, but we really just need to sit down and take time and like see how everyone's actually doing, than just doing the day-to-day, everyday things so quickly and.
And what's interesting about doing that too is you'll find out that people think they know what motivates them, and as you get to know them, it's not actually what they think. So not only, you find a better way to lead them too, because you actually know what motivates them by getting to know them.
Exactly. I probably could have saved, like, we've had people walk out because they were just done, overworked, but I had no idea. You know, I didn't take the time, and I think about that. You know, I didn't take the time to, are you okay? Like, what can I do? What do you need? What can I ask? Or stuff like that, so.
Thank you for sharing. Building relationships is the most important part of leading your team. As leaders of your team community, we have already implemented a lot of these roles. Now with the knowledge of understanding why we are doing what we are doing, we have our goals, vision boards, team meetings, cross-training, team outings. Some people skip those team outings because they get busy. And it's super important. Like, we're lucky to work for a company that encourages team outings. I've worked for several, and they do not encourage team outings, and it's awesome to be able to get together and just have fun with one another. It's important you as a leader are driving that bus. Don't stress about the little things and celebrate everything. So we want to leave you guys with a lasting thought. Your positive energy and vision must be greater than anyone and everyone's negativity. Your certainty must be greater than everyone's doubt. Now, we also have a question for every single person here. It's a very important question. They gotta wait. And my partner needs to come back for us to ask this question.
Too chubby for my butt.
So our question is, will you get on our energy?
Oh my God, I think I better stay in this. Jeff doesn't want to take it.
Oh gosh. So we also wanted to do like where we got around like the bus and took a picture.
Yes.
So,
Do we need to bring our ticket?
we would love for you to have your ticket, Casey. Thank you.
Oh, we really do need the ticket.
Are you like?
We stay on the bus. Yeah, the bus is in bus.
Just.
I'm gonna call roll.
Yeah.
Get in the bus.